There is a very moving scene that we've seen played out in hospitals around the world, and that is when a coronavirus patient recovers from his intense battle over the span of 4, 6, 8 weeks, and many times after having been on a ventilator for many days or weeks. They leave the hospital greeted in the lobby by their loved ones, and the elevator opens, and you've seen videos of this in many hospitals. The elevator doors open, and out comes the patient, wheeled by nurses towards the exit to emerge and go back home to their beloved family waiting for them. And along the lines of the lobby of the hospital are doctors and nurses lined up on both sides as the patient is wheeled through. And all the doctors and nurses are wearing their masks, and everyone is applauding with great fanfare, cheering on this patient to go home to health, to happiness, and be reunited with their loved ones. And many times the patient stops and says a few words and breaks down crying as he or she, usually he, thanks the nurses and the doctors for risking their lives to restore this person to their good health. This very moving scene that we've seen in many, many hospitals over the past 2 months is reminiscent of the importance of this very day today. Today is Rosh Chodesh Iyar. Rosh Chodesh Iyar, the Torah tells us in the book of Exodus that on this day the Jewish people arrived at the wilderness of Sinai, and they encamped facing Mount Sinai. Vayichan, they rested, and Rashi says that it's in the singular, which means that the Jewish people rested, encamped, ki ish achad b'lev achad, like one person with one heart. There was complete unity and oneness amongst the Jewish people when they arrived today at the location of Mount Sinai, and therefore God said, get ready, and 6 days from now, on the 6th day of Sivan, I'm going to give you the 10 Commandments and the Torah. Hence, the holiday of Shavuot will be observed on Friday and Shabbat of this week, the day that 3,332 years ago, God gave us the 10 Commandments. And our rabbis teach us that a prerequisite for receiving the Torah is Jewish unity and love, when we all come together as one. And that's, if I ever wanted to imagine, what does Ki'ish Achad B'Lev Achad mean? When you see the entire staff of the hospital cheering, applauding, crying with joy to see this one person go home in good health to their family, that is hearts and minds and souls uniting as one person. And these are images that we will take with us amongst the countless images of love and unity during this time. And that is why this Shavuot, I feel that more than any other Shavuot, as we celebrate the holiday, we will show an unprecedented unity, that we come to God on this holiday and say, look how we behaved over the past 2.5 months. Look how many acts of kindness. Look at all the doctors and the nurses and the professionals who have risked their lives to help and save others. Look at all the organizations that fed poor people and went shopping for people. All the love and the camaraderie and the friendship and the Hatzalah members and everyone who went out on the front lines to battle this terrible pandemic. And we come with the image of unity that we all have. And we remember that it was in the merit of the unity that we received the Torah, and we must maintain that level of oneness and unity and preserve it even after this pandemic is over, because it's in the merit of that we received the Torah. You know, there's a famous verse that King David says in the book of Psalms, in Psalm 34. He says, Mi ha'isha chafetz chaim, who is the one who desires long life? Oev yamim liros tov. He loves seeing days of goodness. And what is his advice to live a good and long life? Nitzor l'shoncha me'ra, guard your tongue from speaking evil. Usfasecha, your lips, midaba mirma, from speaking deceit. Sur me'ra, turn away from evil. Vasei tov, and do good. Bakesh shalom, seek peace. Virotfeu, and pursue peace. And when you read the verse simply, it means that King David says the secret to longevity and a good long life is all of these 6 things. 1, guard your tongue from speaking evil. 2, from your lips from speaking deceit. 3, turn away from evil. 4, do good. 5, seek peace. And 6, pursue peace. But there's a Hasidic interpretation that translates this verse a little bit differently. It says, Mia Isha Chafetz Chaim, who is the person who wants to live a long life? The answer is one thing. Ohev Yamim Liros Tov. Love every day of life because you are able to see the good in other people. By loving life every day, because every day you have the ability to perceive and to recognize and to see the goodness of others, that will lead to a long and a happy life. And then once you see the good in others constantly, then automatically, Nitzar Lashon Chamera, you'll guard your tongue from speaking evil, Usvasecha Midaba Mirma, and your lips from speaking deceit. You will be Sur Mera, you'll turn away from evil, Vasei Tov, you'll do good, Bakei Shalom, you'll always seek peace, Verat Feyu, you'll pursue peace. Why? Because once you believe in the goodness of others, and you recognize it, and you see the good, the positive, rather than the negative, automatically the natural outcome will be that you won't want to speak bad about people. You'll have nothing bad to say about people. You'll never want to speak deceit. You'll never want to do bad or harm to others. You'll only want to do good. And when you see two people quarreling, you'll strive to bring peace between them and even pursue it. Why? Because you'll always see the good and the potential of every human being. And this is the message of today, Rosh Chodesh Sivan. We have had the blessing over the past 2.5 months to see so much good in our fellow man. Let's maintain that. Let's hold on to that. Let's embed that image in our mind to never forget the love, the outpouring of oneness. This ki ish echad b'lev echad. Everyone stood together as one, because that is the secret to a long and a happy and a beautiful life. And if we want to maintain that and integrate that with our values of Torah, this is the prerequisite. And that's why perhaps this Shavuot we are more prepared, as the Jews in the desert prepared, by becoming one person with one heart. We are truly one human being, one organism, one world, together united, b'lev echad, with one heart of goodness. And I've had the blessing to witness this goodness every day. But just this past Friday, I sent out an email that on Thursday night I got a call. There was a woman in this community, 84-year-old Holocaust survivor, and she spoke to our congregation at the home of one of our members over a year ago on Yom HaShoah to commemorate Holocaust commemoration, remember the tragedies that befell our nation. And she was a charming, lovely, sweet, compassionate, kind woman. She spoke about the horrors of her childhood enduring the concentration camps and surviving. And she told us that she has 2 sons, and she's a widow. Well, I got a call from one of our members who has been in touch with her all this time and has been visiting her on a regular basis and looking after her. And she called me Thursday night and said, Rabbi, I got a call from this woman that her son, her 50-year-old son, died tragically. And she said she's destitute, this woman. All she lives on is her Social Security check, which mostly goes towards her rent. And she said, I cannot afford to give him a Jewish burial. I'm going to have to give him a cremation, which is only $900. And that she could barely afford. And this woman called me in, and I said, of course, we have to help him. I have to help her arrange for a proper Jewish burial for her son. Tragically, 6 million Jews were killed in the Holocaust. They were sent to the crematoriums. How could a Holocaust survivor have to cremate their own son, God forbid? And so we went ahead and we made arrangements for a proper Jewish burial. And we scheduled it for 3 o'clock on Friday. And then I sent out an email on Friday morning and I told a story about this woman losing her son. And I said, if anyone could help with performing the mitzvah to help pay for this burial, please either call me or go on this link and make a donation. And within seconds of the email going out, I started to get bombarded with emails and phone calls, and the office phone was ringing off the hook. And literally within just a few hours, we raised so much money that not only were we able to provide a proper Jewish burial for her son, but we were also able to purchase the plot right next to her, so that after 120 years, she will be able to be next to her beloved son. And in addition to that, we have funds now to establish a burial fund at the synagogue, so that if any Jew cannot afford a proper Jewish burial, the synagogue will be able to help them. And once again, as I stood at the funeral, just me, this 84-year-old woman, and the woman, a member of our synagogue who has been in touch with her and looking after her for all this time, as the three of us stood there and lowered the pine box casket into the earth, I thought to myself, how blessed are we to be a part of a nation that formed the bonds of unity 3,332 years ago at Mount Sinai, when we became one, ki ish achad b'lev achad, like one person with one heart. And that oneness prevails and continues until this very day, that when a Jew is in need, every Jew from anywhere and everywhere turns in an instant and says, how can I help be there for my fellow Jew? Let us take the blessing of this day to strengthen our unity and our love for one another. And in the merit of being ki ish achad, like one person with one heart, God will continue to bless us and grant us His Torah, His holy Torah again, and grant us only health and happiness from here forth on. Wishing you a beautiful day and a good week and a Chodesh Tov, a good month of Sivan. May we receive the Torah on Friday morning and the Ten Commandments with joy and gladness and unity.